Chapter 98 begins with Dongwook successfully delivering Hae-in to the guards, saying, "I'll leave them to you, Hae-in." Hearing this, Hae-in quickly reacts, planting her sword into the ground and activating a skill called Quake of Provocation. The skill causes a powerful shockwave that provokes the guards, forcing them to attack her. As Dongwook observes their formation falling apart, he immediately rushes to the queen. In his mind, he understands that the queen must be kept contained until all the guards are defeated. Standing in front of the queen with a shield for protection and a spear in hand, Dongwook calls out, "Hey, over here." Meanwhile, the cameraman, observing the situation, wonders if the real battle has finally begun. A person on the radio mentions that the viewership ratings have already surpassed 80%, prompting the cameraman to move closer to get a better angle. However, just as he approaches, a sudden hand pulls him back. It's Byung-gu, who warns the cameraman that they are currently in an S-rank dungeon and that no one is responsible for his life here. Byung-gu tells him to stay behind him because the real fight is about to start. A green aura surrounds Byung-gu as the cameraman watches in awe. He recalls hearing people say that healers are not skilled in combat, but looking at Byung-gu, he realizes that this is a lie. Byung-gu looks more capable of fighting than him, an A-rank hunter. The scene shifts to a house in South Korea, where an elderly woman tells her husband that the hunters are about to engage in the raid. The husband, uninterested, responds dismissively, saying he doesn't care. The wife, however, insists that they should watch, and the reporters on TV said the hunters will be sure to defeat the ants for good this time. The husband replies that those guys are always just talk, and that he doesn't pay them any mind anymore. His wife responds that they need to watch, even though it's painful, especially since they are avenging their only child, who was lost in the raid. The husband, not responding, continues reading his newspaper, but the wife remains firm in her resolve. Though it's unclear who their child was, based on my theory, I believe they are the parents of Eun-sok, one of the hunters who died in the second Jeju Island raid with Yoon-ho and Byung-gu. After that, the old woman continues watching and mutters, "For crying out loud, what a grumpy old man." Meanwhile, on the TV, it is announced that the South Korean hunters have commenced their raid against the queen ant and are currently in the queen's chamber. They report that the largest ant ever seen by mankind is standing before the hunters. The news also mentions that Ma Dongwook is fending off the queen alone but needs backup. The other hunters must defeat the remaining guards before they can assist him. Suddenly, a loud cheer erupts from the neighbors as the news says that Yoon-ho has defeated one of the guards. The elderly woman comments, saying, "It's a little scary, but it sounds like everyone is cheering for them." The scene transitions to a group of people watching the live broadcast. The news reports that only 4 guards remain. In a restaurant, a young couple watches on the phone and hears that only 3 guards are left. A billboard also displays that only 2 guards remain, and after that, they can finally attack the queen. The news announces that victory is within reach. Back at the elderly couple's house, when the husband hears that victory is close, he rushes to the TV, and his wife looks at him in surprise. The news then reports that all the guards have been defeated. The husband comments that this is their 4th raid and that they must win this time. "Don't you think so?" he asks his wife. His eyes shine with hope. The news then announces that the only obstacle left is the queen ant. Once she is defeated, the hunters will be able to eliminate the remaining ants. The scene transitions to the broadcasting office, where the viewership rating has now hit 85%, setting a new record. It's also reported that South Korea is about to be added to the list of countries that have cleared an S-rank gate, a list that currently includes only the United States, China, Russia, and France. In the next scene, the S-rank hunters face the queen ant. Dongwook orders them to close in on her. Lim Tae-gyu shoots countless arrows at the queen's head, while Yoon-ho, without hesitation, declares, "Don't be scared." A queen without guards is nothing but a scarecrow, and slashes at her foot with his sharp claws. The queen's eyes suddenly spark, and she releases a corrosive liquid from her mouth, hitting Dongwook and Yoon-ho. Byung-gu quickly casts a healing spell, and both of them are unharmed. Smiling, Byung-gu remarks that he should have been the target of the queen's attack. The queen charges at Byung-gu, but Dongwook blocks her with his shield, saying he won't let her attack their healers so easily. Jong-in then announces to everyone to stand back as he casts a powerful fire spell that engulfs the queen in flames. He then raises his hand again, unleashing another, stronger burst of fire that creates a massive explosion. Yoonho, thinking as he observes the queen, says that from his years of experience, he can tell she is on the brink of death and that victory is within reach. However, the queen suddenly lets out a deafening roar, one so powerful that it sends a shockwave across the tunnel. Yoonho wonders whether it's a roar or a death cry. Something feels different, and he realizes that the queen may be calling for help. The scene shifts to Sugimoto, who, in a state of shock, informs Gotoruji that the ants are retreating back into the tunnels and that the jamming signals are no longer working. Ruji is stunned and exclaims, "What?" He thinks to himself, "What on earth is happening?" as he watches the ants retreat back into the tunnels. Back inside the tunnels, Hae-in delivers the final blow to the queen, slicing off her head. She looks around and asks, "It's over, right?" Taegyu confirms that they are now the 7th team in the world to clear an S-rank gate. However, Yoonho senses that something is wrong and remarks, "Wait, something's not right." Dongwook then alerts the group, as it is reported that the ants are swarming toward them and they need to leave immediately. The team is shocked by this news. Hae-in asks, "What?" while Taegyu wonders if the Japanese S-rank hunters were unable to hold off the ants for even an hour. Dongwook, uncertain, replies that the association is also trying to figure out what's happening. Suddenly, Jong-in notices that the flame prison he created at the entrance has been destroyed. Just then, the team is struck by an overwhelming aura that makes it difficult to move. A powerful ant, unlike any they have faced before, emerges from the shadows. Yoonho, in shock, says that this doesn't make sense as he focuses on the powerful black ant with red eyes. Suddenly, it lets out a terrifying roar that creates an enormous shockwave felt across the island. The chapter ends with Yoonho, stunned by the creature's power, wondering aloud, how can a beast possess such strength?